to meet you. And I want to start asking you, Simon. Kingdom follow four families, actually, of
Yes.
predators, sharing the same territory over a course of 5 years. But at what point do you realize that you weren't simply making a film about wildlife, but actually telling a story about families?
I think we always started to we selected these animals, but we always started with wanting to try and tell relatable stories. So stories that people can understand and get their sort of get interested in and enthralled by. And I think obviously the family is something that we all have experience of, and it's really key to all of their lives. So I think right from the outset we knew that the families would be really important to this, and I think what was really exciting was we had four very different families. So the leopards live in one way, the lions live in a different way, the dogs, the hyenas, they've all got family, but they all experience it and live it in a very different way. So I think that was one of the most exciting things, was seeing that come across on the screen and seeing that come through in the stories that we were able to capture.
And in this huge universe of a lot of character, actually, how do you decide this gonna be my actually center of my story?
Well, we never know until it happens. So we never know what's going to happen from one moment to the next. And that's one of the both exciting and totally nerve-wracking things of the series. And so the characters tend to sort of select themselves. Sometimes it's quite obvious. So with the wild dogs, Storm was such a key character to that family. She was the dominant female. She had all the pups, sorry. So I think she sort of selected herself. With the lions, it was less clear, and so we watched as these characters came to the fore, often by what they did. And what's really exciting for us as filmmakers is to watch the different individuals come through, because each of the animals are different. They all have different. If I was referring to in people, I call it personalities. It's not often a phrase we use for animals, but in the same way as, like, if you've got a pets, if you've got two cats, for example, two dogs, they'll have different personalities. One will be the lazy one, or one will be the adventurous one. One will be the quiet, timid one, or whatever. So, in the same way, different individuals have different characteristics. So as those characteristics come through, then they sort of select themselves as the characters and what they go through. So I think we never know who our key characters are going to be before we start, but it often becomes clear quite quickly after we start filming.
Yeah, you said it. You were following animals actually.
Hmm.
So how do you build a coherent story when nature doesn't follow a script actually? Because you have to put your camera and record what is happening, not what you
Yeah.
want happen or everything. So how do you build that story to be something that has an idea and a narrative that
Yeah.
coherent?
Well, I mean, I think I know it's a bit of a cliche, but nature writes the best scripts. Like it's like we could never write a story that did what happened in Kingdom. It's such an incredible tale. It's such an incredible group of families and the way they interact. So really, our jobs is not to write these stories. It's definitely not to try and direct the animals, because we can never direct what they do. It's about being there for as much time as possible. We spent over 1,400 days filming on location. And by spending all that time with them, we get to witness these incredible moments and see how these incredible moments shape their lives. And so we could never tell what was going to happen. So we sit and wait and watch the story unfold in front of us.
And talking about the production of the documentary, you said that you spent over 1,000 hours making this. I don't know, 76 filming expedition. So this is your most challenging project to the date.
It's the most ambitious thing I've ever tried to do. Yeah, we knew this was an amazing area. There's some amazing scientists who work there, and it's an amazing group of animals we were working with, but we just never knew what was going to happen. So the idea of not just making a single show about a place or an animal, but making these five blue chip wildlife shows all about the way these animals interact was quite daunting to begin with. But as it started to unfold, I think we all realized that we were really lucky, and these animals were doing this incredible things right in front of us. It was just a matter of making sure that we were there for as much time as possible, and being able to make sure we were with the right individuals at the right time, and then letting nature take its course.
And with your career, with your huge career, what makes the change in this project actually with the rest of your career, and what do you learn in this experience of making Kingdom?
Well, this is the longest ever have had an opportunity to follow a single group of animals or single groups of animals. And I think getting to know a group of characters for me is the most exciting thing about making wildlife films, getting to know those animals and understand how they interact with each other and the situations they find themselves in is the most exciting thing we do. So I think that the opportunity to make Kingdom, which was the ultimate expression of that, was just truly magical.
I know maybe it's difficult to answer, but you have a work of 5 years, most challenging of that 5 years.
Sorry, I missed the middle of that question.
What was the most challenging thing to
Most
work
challenging
in
thing,
5 years project?
yeah. I think the most challenging thing, well, on two levels. One, the most challenging thing for a production like this was the logistics of making that work. We had a huge camp, well, not a huge camp, it was quite a big camp, not enormous, but we had a camp right on the edge of the reserve where the animals could come and go as much as we could. So dealing with elephants walking through camp or safari ants coming through camp, the ants are much more dangerous than the elephants, if I'm honest. The so that logistical challenge was enormous, having these huge teams of people working out there. But I think on a personal level, for us and who are filming it, they trying to make sure that all of these that we stay on top of all of these storylines, but also are able to deal with what can be really emotional moments in their lives. So when we lose characters, when we can't find characters, we often go for days without seeing them, or some of them, and that meant that it was quite emotionally draining. I think that's probably the biggest challenge is living with this sort of constant worry that how things are going to develop.
to to work in a project this
Sorry, I've lost your audio. I can't hear you.
give
It's coming in and out a little bit. I don't know if that's me or you.
Simon, can you hear me?
Yeah, I
No?
can hear you now. Yes,
Yeah.
I can hear you now. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But I want to talk about the technological display working in Kingdom is has enormous amount of technology for
Hmm.
you as a person. How do you manage to have this balance to put some technology in the wild and not interfere in the wildlife?
Yeah. So the most important thing, the absolute most important thing is that we don't interfere, that we don't affect the way these animals behave. So we spend years and years getting, as I said earlier, very close, emotionally connected to these animals, and they spend years and years totally ignoring us. So that's great. So we used everything from really super quiet small drones in order to sort of fly alongside the animals, and they totally ignore them. And the same way with our cars, we spend a huge amount of time with very experienced, very talented drivers, making sure that we can get ourselves in the right position, that we don't disturb the animals, and they just see us as a part of the furniture. We're almost like another tree. And the other part of it is that we make sure that our cameras and our camera people are as low as possible, so that rather than sort of filming from a sort of up high sort of human perspective, we get right down on the eye levels with our animals, which not only helps from the storytelling point of view because it gets in the world and you sort of feel like you're there, but you also see the world from their perspective. And so it helps us with the way we tell the stories because we see the world from their perspective rather than just imagining what it would be like.
Simon, my time is running out, but I want to close asking you, what can you tell to the people that are going to see Kingdom and what they can expect?
Well, hopefully it's exciting, captivating story, and I think that for me, it's one of the most amazing stories I've been able to tell working in wildlife filmmaking. And they, these animals are more than just sort of a group of animals wandering around the savannah. They're incredible characters, and their stories are more surprising and enthralling than I thought they would be when we first started making the project.
Well, Simon, thank you so much for your time with ADN here in Latin America, and congratulations for your work. Amazing work.
Thank you so much.
I'm such a huge fan of wildlife, so seeing in that way is always fun.
Well, thank you so much. It's lovely to get, well, it's lovely to feel that people enjoy the stuff that we do. So that's great. Thank you.
Always. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nelson.
Thank you, Victoria.
Bye.